Hello, and welcome to the 117 Gaming Squadron, your channel for all things video games. On this channel, we will discuss reviews, show gameplay footage, and talk about events in the gaming industry, so please subscribe so you won't miss any new content, and be sure to hit that like button. Also, please comment below and let me know your thoughts on what you liked or disliked about the Halo Infinite preview. I was able to participate in the second Halo Infinite multiplayer tech preview. This was my first time playing Halo Infinite multiplayer. I'll be honest, I've never gotten into Halo multiplayer. When I have tried to play multiplayer in the past, I've always got my butt kicked, so to me it was never fun or enjoyable. I've always enjoyed the campaign, which is something I'm very excited and looking forward to when it launches on December 8th. I was excited when I got invited to participate in the Halo Infinite multiplayer tech preview. I really wanted to see how much work 343 put into Halo Infinite. I know with them pushing their whole new slipspace engine and how it looks amazing on Series X, I want to see how it would stack up on my Xbox One X. When Microsoft released gameplay footage of Halo Infinite back in 2020, July of 2020 actually, I was hyped to finally see how the game looked and played on the Series X. I enjoyed the cinematic trailers that they released, but I wanted to see gameplay. I want to see how Halo looked back in action. After the presentation, I was not blown away. I was kind of like, that's it? The graphics look good, but not next gen. The gameplay seemed similar, but wasn't great. And the short gameplay demo didn't really get much to me get all hyped up. I was glad that 343 did the right thing and delayed the game after all the backlash from the gaming community. I was one of those people that wanted them to delay it, because if they released it as is, this could have been a bad thing for the Halo franchise. And I'm sure 343 was not expecting it, but they would have released the game with the launch of the Series X and S. I felt like the Halo franchise would have gotten destroyed. 343 made the difficult but right call to take more time to make the game that much better. Alright, enough of my rambling. Let's jump right into it. I was able to try out a new feature that 343 added to the Halo Infinite. This feature was available before matchmaking was turned on, and that feature was the Academy. This was a place where you can hone your skills, test weapons to get a feel for them, and even do combat playtests with bots in all maps. You had the option of choosing their difficulty, so you can really get tested. I was able to get a couple of hours of gameplay on the weekends when it was available during their matchmaking windows. One thing I did not like was that 343 had certain windows in which multiplayer was available for matchmaking, so you had 2 times in the day, both Saturday and Sunday, to play with actual people. The rest of the time you could go into the Academy and play bots between those open times. I understand 343 wants specific times for multiplayer matchmaking to really hammer the servers to make sure they can withstand the demand. The bots were actually fun to play against. You're able to choose if you wanted both friendly and enemy bots. You had the option to even choose the difficulty, which I enjoyed. If you want to be able to explore the map, try out new weapons, or play around with the grappling hook, you can make the opposing team's bot a marine or recruit. They do shoot at you and attack, but they also are not overly aggressive, and their aim is off. When you jump to ODST or Spartan, that's when they kicked it up a notch and you find yourself getting spanked more often. In the matchmaking multiplayer, they did offer more than just Slayer game modes. They also have Capture the Flag and another game mode where you needed to control certain areas of the map. That mode was interesting because you had 3 zones that needed to be controlled, so it was always changing between teams. Usually the opposing team would have 2 zones at all times, and we kept fighting for control of at least 2 also. The load times on my 1X did take a little bit, and this was from using the stock hard drive. I know this will not be an issue on the Series X and S. I could move it to an external solid-state drive once the game launches to speed things up loading. The loading screen was not bad. It gave interesting tips, but the background image was the same each time you loaded into a map or mode. I feel this will change once the game launches. In the options setting, there was a choice to play either performance or quality. It defaulted to quality for me, but when I went and changed it to performance, I really didn't see any difference in terms of frame rate or even the quality of the graphics being less. The game did look good on my 1X, and it did run at least decent frames, 30 frames per second. I feel like once in a while it would drop below 30 frames per second, but it didn't deter or make the game that unplayable. I know when I finally get a hold of a Series X, I'll be playing through this game again to see how it truly looks. Now here are a few things I did enjoy about the tech demo. These can be small things or big things. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not a huge fan of Halo multiplayer, so me pointing these things out are just points I made that feel the game special or not special. The quick intro before the match begins. I did enjoy how it introduced everyone on your team, and each player had their own emotion as the camera went over that player. After it showed all 4 members of the team, the camera zoomed out, and everyone posed ready to go, and it quickly zoomed into your helmet, and then boom! The match began. Another new feature is the grappling hook. Other Halo games, you did have power-ups such as Shield Overcharge, Shield Bubble, and the Shield Drain, to name a few. With the inclusion of the grappling hook, it made the gameplay more fun. You can shoot up onto ledges, you can use it to grab weapons, you can even use it to grab onto other players and zoom in and hit them with a melee once you arrive. I was able to grab a hook to a vehicle and knock the driver out of the seat. One of the opposing team players was still in the turret and didn't know what to do, which made the scenario pretty funny. I have seen some people hijack a vehicle, drive it off a cliff with opposing team members still in the vehicle, and then grapple hook onto the ledge to save their own ass. I feel the grappling hook is going to be a fun addition to the multiplayer, but also the campaign, because I know 343 is pushing us to explore more in this game than other previous Halo games. Another nice inclusion that I enjoyed was the ability to grab onto a ledge and climb up. In previous Halo games, we couldn't do that until Halo 5. So trying to explore and get around meant you had to jump around to get onto certain ledges, but now with this ability, it makes getting around the map that much better. I know exploration is going to be a huge feature 343 wants to have in the campaign compared to previous Halo campaigns. And so, that's something I'm really looking forward to, the Halo campaign. I really want to be able to explore, search every nook and cranny, and to see how much bigger these maps are, or gameplay, campaign-wise too, compared to previous Halo games. I did enjoy the shooting range in the Academy. This allowed me to try out any of the new weapons to see how they operate and if any of them would be worth using in multiplayer. I enjoyed the Commando because it felt like a battle rifle but more accurate shooting. With the scope, I was able to get better shots off when compared to the battle rifle. The Academy allowed me to do this and test out all the weapons, so when it came time to jump into multiplayer, I was already familiar with that weapon. Now on to the items that I did not like in this tech preview. I won't be going into too much detail about the weapons and their hit power. I feel enough YouTubers will be speaking about that. I will mention that there were times where I would get shot twice and go down. I would get confused at how quickly I got smoked by the opposing team. There were times where I was using the battle rifle and would literally use an entire clip on an opposing player and maybe they would go down. Sometimes they would not, and then they would get me, and I would then have to respawn. I found myself using the assault rifle more often. To me, the OG of rifles felt comfortable. I did once in a while bust out the sidekick to use it. I was able to take down some players with it. It's definitely not the Magnum from CE, but it was still fun and nice to use once in a while. A few times that got me frustrated was when I used a melee attack at the end of after unloading enough bullets on the opposing player. I felt like I got the hit before the opposing player, but they ended up with the down score and I had to respawn. There were some times where we hit each other at the same time, we would both go down. I did enjoy those moments because I was like, haha, got him. I'll be honest with you, and as you guys are watching these clips, it shows I went down a lot more than my teammates did. It did frustrate me at times, but overall it didn't take away from the experience of testing out these maps and modes. I felt like I wanted my playthroughs for a map. I was having a hard time finding the opposing team players. Not sure if I had some of them left and only one person was still standing, or they were all hiding out in one area. Either way, it was not a bad thing to complain about regarding the map I was on. I just wanted to point that out in case other people had the same problem. So now, graphics and sound. I know that my 1X won't be looking amazing compared to the Series X, but it did look good. It looked better than I expected on my console. I did try to switch between performance and quality, but didn't know any difference in frame rate. I feel that 343 will have that feature ready to go when the game launches. I would like to know if I do select performance, then run at 60 frames per second in both campaign and multiplayer. I also know that on my 1X, if I choose performance, the game will drop to 1080p in settings instead, and not run at 4K, 30 frames per second. The sound was excellent. The ambient game music in the lobby as you search for a game was a nice soft touch. It was definitely different from the Martin O'Donnell score that we all fell in love with back in the Bungie days. I understand 343 is trying to maintain the legacy Bungie and Martin created with the Halo score, but also try to come up with their own take on it. The sound effects were top notch. The sounds of the weapons firing to the grenades and melee attacks were all spot on. I didn't like how they changed the sound of the assault rifle back in Halo 4, but now I've gotten used to it. The sound in the distance from the gunfire and explosions helps let you know that which direction the action is happening. The iconic shield recharge sounds just as good as it did back in Combat Evolved. The announcer for the game modes is the same voice we have heard since Halo 2. You can't get rid of an iconic voice like that, especially if the voice actor enjoys doing this. 343 did add a new voice in the capture flag and zone capture game modes. To me, it sounds like a British accent as they speak. It is a nice touch to have a different voice help explain and give updates on your team's doing when compared to the opposing team. I didn't get a chance to play the first tech preview flight for the Halo Infinite, but I feel from the tests they have made good improvements. I feel 343 is listening to the fan base and making the necessary changes. I know the hype is real. I'm very excited for a new Halo game and cannot wait until December 8th when the game launches. With Game Pass, I will make sure I play it on day one. Hell, I even pre-download the game so I can jump in and get going. And I will be making a separate video on my thoughts on the road to Infinite in terms of the first reveal, the decision to delay it, and how the hype is making everyone excited. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and also liking this video. It truly does help a lot. Let me know your thoughts about Halo Infinite multiplayer and the tech preview. I look forward to making more videos like this, so please stay tuned. Until next time, peace.